If you're like us and you're building passive income, niche type websites, then building links is probably not a good idea. In fact, link building can be really dangerous. Google's main job when it comes to search is to help people find the content they're looking for, to give them the answers to the questions they're asking, even if they're not using the right words to ask the question. Google's getting really, really good at that. If you create content that does a good job of answering questions other people are ignoring, and if it's something that some people are actually likely to search, those long tail keywords as we call them, then you're going to get traffic to your website. That's the end of the story. The reason that people build links though is because having links from authoritative websites helps to give Google the impression that your website has more authority. In fact, that's part of Google's algorithm. The more links from authoritative websites, the more authority they can trust your website with kind of early on. And that's why people build links to get quick traffic to their websites. The problem with this is that Google's really, really smart. The longer that your content is on the web, the more likely it's going to end up where it belongs. If you spend your time building links and don't spend your time creating good content, your content will move to the place where it belongs because of the way people behave on your website. And that is why what used to be considered white hat backlinking is often considered gray hat or even black hat today. The only reason it was white hat wasn't because Google allowed it. It was white hat because Google didn't disallow it. They didn't penalize it, but they do today. And so today's white hat backlinking is potentially tomorrow's gray hat and black hat backlinking. It's not really a game I want to really be in. So here's what actually determines your rankings in the long run. How well does your content do at answering the question that people asked? If you build links and you get yourself right up to the top of the rankings really, really fast, that's great. And it probably took a lot of time and energy and potentially even cost to get there. The problem is that 6 months from now, if your content does not belong there, it will move. Why? Because people will click on your article, they will see that it's not what they were looking for, it's just not very good, and they will bounce, they will leave. Whereas if somebody else has written better content, whether or not they've built links to it, if their content is better, if it does a better job of making people happy, of answering their question, then when people go to that article, they're going to stay. They're going to read more of it, potentially the whole thing. They might click through to another article on the website. The more of that they do, the more Google can tell that their content was awesome. It did a good job of answering the question. If you don't do that, doesn't matter how much link building you do, your content will not stay at the top of the Google rankings. End of story. You have people at one of the largest organizations with the most resources virtually on the planet, and they are telling you that if you're doing this, they are coming after you. And not only is your content going to eventually drop to where it should be in the rankings, it'll probably drop further because Google will penalize it. And that is super dangerous. Google fines and penalizes content that has tricked them in the past every time they update their algorithm. Their algorithm is what determines what content should show up and where in the search results whenever somebody does a search. Most internet marketers are paranoid whenever there's an algorithm update. It's the talk of the town. There's YouTube video after YouTube video coming out about this algorithm update and what it's going to do to your site and what you need to go do and which links you need to disavow and all that. Why deal with that? We don't. We get asked all the time here on YouTube, what did you guys do and how did you guys prepare for such and such Google algorithm update? We don't see so much as a blip. We spend our time creating good content. If you spend your time creating good content and not tricking Google, you'll be just fine. Let's say you have an hour a day to work on your website. And let's say over the course of 2 months, an hour a day is enough time to write 30 good posts. For some people, it's going to be more. Some people, it's going to be less. That's fine. For the sake of this argument, 30 good posts. You have 60 hours in the next 2 months to write 30 good posts. Or you could spend the same time writing 10 good posts and writing 10 good posts for other people's websites, and then the rest of your time begging people to put your content on their website, potentially paying them for that. Well, that's money out of pocket and it's time spent. And in the end, once you get all these backlinks to your website, what do you have? You have 10 articles. Meanwhile, the person who went the route of creating content has 30 posts. They have better resources on their website. They're covering more topics. They're putting more lines in the water, to use our fishing analogy. You have 10 lines in the water, they have 30. Yours may have a little bit better bait, But having more lines in the water is what wins us over and over and over again when it comes to Google rankings. And spend your time begging other people to put links to your website, begging other people to publish your content on their websites. You can do that. Or you could just create really good content and be patient. Give it a few months. Write new content, write 30 articles, and then give it some time, 6 months. You will see the traffic come in if you have done a good job of picking topics that are not overly competitive and if you've written good content. That is what works for us over and over and over again. People will tell you you cannot be successful without link building. I tell you that if you build links, you are putting your success and your future in internet marketing at risk. And that is why link building is so dangerous. In fact, it's kind of like being pulled behind a truck on a bumpy dirt road, on a bicycle 12 sizes too small, without a helmet.
Ready?